We're going on. We are live. Hello, everyone. This is Elohim Ali. Thanks for tuning in. I know we're 5 minutes late. Please excuse me. You put it all on me. It's all my fault. Um, yes, I was not supposed to be the host today, as some of y'all know, but there were some personal issues going on in people's lives, and so I am filling in for the queen. And there are two beautiful panelists here for y'all. Please introduce yourselves. Tell them your Instagram. Starting with Aisha.
Oh, I'm Aisha Lynette. You can find me at From Mexico on Facebook and Twitter.
Um, I'm Twilight Mayat, and you can find me on Instagram at the Underbelly Group or at Real Queens _over bitches, and also on Facebook under those various names.
All right, so we are ready. Now, I'm going to tell the audience the rules. The panelists already know. This is, if you came here to watch a debate, like normal, this is not a debate. This is purely a discussion. We are agreeing about how great black men are. A lot of y'all got to see black women rock. This is black men rocking, so y'all know the rules. This is complete agreeable discussion. Okay, so there will be 6 topics for y'all today, and I'm sure you guys will be able to answer each one effectively. Um, we're going to lead in with a fact, okay? The first man to possess consciousness on this planet is the black man. What are good things you all have noticed about great black men's minds? We'll start off with Twilight.
Um, I would definitely say that the ingenuity. You can give basically what we've seen over time is black men taking some of the smallest things and extrapolating it. So just like when they said that, uh, like people who read the Bible, like they say little becomes much when you put it into the master's hand, or they say that Jesus turned water into wine. Well, black men have been doing that for centuries
Mm.
with various different inventions, like Garrett Morgan, the stoplight. We're talking about even when it comes to computers, it was a black man who created the first motherboard. So one of the things that I've noticed about a black man's mind is that you don't have to give him much, but any little thing you give him, if he is in his God self, he will take that and he will expand it.
Mm. Aisha?
I agree with her completely. I think the black man is able, their ability to create under pressure, regardless of circumstance. Like she said, with no matter as little as they have, they're able to do something with that. And also, like she said, the black man who is into, knowledge of self and into expanding their mind, they are very knowledgeable. They'll, study as hard as they have to, do whatever they have to in order to obtain the knowledge that they need to. And with that knowledge, they're very passionate, very, 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 very passionate and doing what they have to do to help their people.
And while we're on this topic of the mind, you already know that that's like the number one thing that they attack when it comes to the black men, especially these young black boys. Can y'all tell me what y'all think about the ADHD thing, the ADD thing, the pills, the Ritalin, and what do y'all think about all that's going on with the black? How does that affect the black man's mind?
Well, I think it it affects them. Well, as a, my father grew up and they gave him Ritalin when he was, younger, and I remember him telling me like he didn't like the way it made him feel. He didn't feel like himself. It took away his, at his drive. He would just kind of sit still and just be in like a zombie in a sense. And I think that it's scary that for some of the parents that don't know what's going on, or that, in their schools, that they believe the school system when they say, oh, your child's overactive or, hyperactive or whatever the case may say, what they say. And I think that it's just a way to, again, slow us down, to oppress us. because the children growing up, they have, people like me or you or, Twilight, trying to, expand that mind, and they're just coming every way possible to slow that down.
I agree, Twilight.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is actually a obviously it must be such a big situation that it's personal for everybody, but
Mhm.
I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and this friend of mine had suffered from acute depression, and he was telling me how all last year he spent all last year trying to put the pieces of the puzzle of his life together. Well, now this actually relates to Ritalin
Mm,
because basically he was saying that he began to do research and found out that all of these effects of Ritalin led to various different psychosis and psychological
Mhm.
issues. And he said when he was a child, he had to take, Ritalin. And he said he got to the point where he started pretending and putting the pills, hiding them when his mom would make him take them because he said he felt like a zombie. He said they said he was overactive and everything, but from what I been able to ascertain in our conversation, he's one of the most brilliant men I've ever met. So, with that being said, it just shows you how when they don't want to be bothered with the
Mhm.
masculine nature of young black men, because obviously, just like Dr. Umar says, you know, you have mostly middle class white women teaching young black men, and they are taught to fear black men. So,
Mhm.
the easiest thing to do is to neutralize them so that you feel like you're in control because you don't have the tools and the resources to actually be the person to teach them.
mm, most definitely. So y'all are just so intelligent. Y'all are killing me with this knowledge. Number two, second topic. Black men are said to be biologically, on average, stronger and faster than the average man. Why do you think this is? And what's a physical feature you like the most on black men? Oh, let's start off with Aisha.
I think it just comes down to genetics and evolution, everything that we've gone through. Um, that's why we're stronger. That's just it's just simply to me, simply put that way. And as far as like their features, really, I can't really choose one, to be honest. Like I'm just attracted to what I'm attracted to. So, um, yeah, I guess that's as simple as I can put it.
Word. Twilight?
Absolutely. Um, Black men, I believe, are faster and stronger mainly because of that God particle called melanin.
Mm,
Um, it's something genetically that we've just I wouldn't say begin to tap into, but this has just began to become knowledge that is available, more widely available, and not just in certain groups and sects. And so, a lot of black men, yes, they're able to run faster, stronger, but unfortunately, they have something else controlling or attempting to control their movements and behavior because of how powerful they are, so they don't have the consciousness to know just how great they are. And so, well, a lot of them don't anyway. And so, one of the things that I think is really awesome about black man, it was hard for me to choose too. I'm sitting here thinking like, what? But I really definitely would say, one of the things that I think stand out the most to me is the smile. A black man's smile. I mean, like it
That was
totally
like,
lights up a room. It illuminates your heart. You'll be like having a day and then you'll be irritated, as us women sometimes do. And then they'll just come in and they'll tell a joke or say something funny. You be like, oh boy, you crazy, and that just lights up your day. So, yeah, I would definitely say a black man smile.
yeah, that
word.
was my choice too. That's funny. That was my answer, but then I was like, that may be too simple.
Yeah.
That's too simple.
Simplicity is the best, girl.
Oh, look at that. All right. And, speaking of black men with good smiles, how do you feel about Malcolm X? A lot of men see him as an example, and I remember I heard Dr. Umar Johnson saying he was our last nearly perfect, unapologetic image of manhood and black manhood. So, how do y'all feel about Malcolm X? He's my hero personally. So. How do y'all feel about Malcolm X?
I-
Starting with
I'll go ahead, go. Actually, well, the way I feel about Malcolm X is I thought he was like the super, super serious guy who was just so militant and that's and abrasive, and that's the way the media painted him. But
Mhm.
after viewing some of his videos on YouTube, he had a sense of humor. He smiled a lot. He was a great guy. And he was also, yes, unapologetically African. And nothing that he was saying was actually wrong. It just upset at the balance of order in this nature, in this nation. So it
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily that he was saying anything like, oh, kill all the white people. Like they made it seem like that's what he was saying. He was just about kill all the white people and the hell with them. He wasn't saying anything like that. He was teaching us how to go ahead and feel good about ourselves, because if some group feels bad about themselves, they're not truly going to elevate themselves ever. So he was giving us an opportunity to feel great about ourselves and to know why we should feel great about ourselves. And so that just upset the balance of order in this nation. And that is the reason why he was taken out. And that is a stupid reason. And they painted him as such like a hardcore, didn't want to get along with anybody. He even said, that white people can assist but they cannot be a part of it, you
Mhm.
see. And so a lot of people just misconstrued the information, and they did that because he upset at the balance of power. And so I just think he was an all around great man and an example. And the reason for his death was really quite stupid. And that's how I feel about it.
mm,
Yeah.
all
I think that he was the perfect example of the black man who turned his life around, who went out and seeked that knowledge in order to better himself and to, again, turn his life around. I think that the way he exercised his mind and the way that he was able to, again, like she said, teach us to use our minds and to use that knowledge to know who we are. I mean, to obtain that knowledge so that we can know who we are. So we're not afraid to be who we are. And I think that he's the prime example of what America is even scared of today.
Mm.
He was strong, he's intelligent, and like she said, he was on. He didn't care. He didn't care that he was black, and he's what America's afraid of. They're afraid of somebody like you, somebody who's strong, who's intelligent. If we had more leaders like you who put things like this together, that's going to bring a unity that they're afraid of, power that they're afraid of. And I think that we need more of these men that, like you, that aren't afraid, and like Malcolm X, who aren't afraid, so that we can unite.
I thank you
Yeah.
for that compliment too, sister. Uh, Now, Malcolm X lately, I don't know if you guys knew, but this man tried to rewrite Malcolm X's biography. I don't know if the man was black or white, and he tried to say that Malcolm X was that his wife was cheating on him and that he was homosexual. All these crazy lies that came out of nowhere, and everybody said that doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
Um, why do y'all feel they need to attack Malcolm in his death? Because normally they don't attack a lot of the leaders after they die. But why do you feel like they're trying to attack his legacy and who he was? Anybody can answer.
Well, I think it's um, because when most people reference that by any means necessary, it comes from Malcolm X. And, in order maybe to, tear that image that we have of him, they're going to try to spew anything out there to change our what we think about him. But anybody who, is thinking logical is not going to believe that nonsense. There's no way to think that any of that's true. But somebody who maybe is just coming into truth or to knowledge might be like, well, I read this, and you're like, no, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe that, that's, I can't say, but
No doubt, I agree.
yeah.
What about you, Twilight?
Well, I believe that is only going to shake the faith of the ones who are not the true revolutionaries.
Mhm.
So they're just going to be able to weed out the ones who are weak in their convictions when it comes to
Mhm.
stuff like that. But ultimately, they're attacking him because he is immortal.
Mm,
They understand that he has left his body, but he has not left the consciousness of the people.
He's
And
still here.
so they're afraid that even his message alone, as it's shared across social media, it's going to wake up certain parts of us in our DNA that is going to connect with some of his messages. So they're just very afraid of the power of that. The only thing they're going to do is shake the tree, and it's only thing that they're going to fall off are the weak leaves. But the
mm,
strong ones, we're going to stand strong. So
Yeah.
what they're doing is really just a waste of time, really. Thank
nah,
them for shaking off the ones we don't need anyway. So
I agree. I agree. Um, all right, topic number 4. Garvey was ahead of his time. If you could tell Garvey anything, what would it be? If you could tell Marcus Garvey anything, if you could talk to him, what would you talk to Marcus Garvey about? We'll start with Isaac.
Um, I'll be honest. I haven't really read too much into, Garvey, I'll be honest.
Mhm.
But I do know that from little that I have read about him, that he is one of the first references that a lot of people will go to when they're trying to wake up or when they need, somewhere to start. And
Mhm.
I think based off that alone, or I see how the weight that his name carries.
Mhm.
Obviously, it would simply just be like, thank you. I can't really say too much because I've never really read too much about him.
Yeah, word. I mean, and just for the audience, 'cause I understand that you're not the only one, and just for the audience, anybody who doesn't know exactly who Marcus Garvey is, just a quick overview. Marcus Garvey is one of the first people to come and deliver Pan Africanism in a very, 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 very long time. If you know what RBG, red, black, and green. Red for the blood of our people, black the skin of our people, green for the land of our people. Talking about spin black, talk black, culture black. Talking about bringing back manhood. All this was brought by Garvey, and in fact, he had pretty much the biggest black movement that we know of, without any TV promotion or anything like that. They did not assassinate Garvey, but they kept him from coming back to the Americas. And as I know the story, they pretty much pushed him back to Jamaica, where he was originally from. But he had a whole go back to Africa. He was one of the first to get ships, to get money, to get funding, to go all the way back to Africa. He was very serious, and he was nearly successful, completely in what he did. And Malcolm X's father was actually a Garveyite, and Malcolm X's father was actually tied down to a railroad track and
mm,
killed by the KKK because what he was doing in the community. Um, but just to give everybody background on who Marcus Garvey is, Sister Twilight, what would you tell Marcus Garvey? You had to talk to.
what I would tell Marcus Garvey, most of it wouldn't be anything that he didn't already know. But if I had anything to tell him, I would tell him to watch for the fear in the African community.
Hmm.
Like, what he needed to know was that when he was trying to do the whole Black Star Line thing back to Africa and gaining stock and shares, I mean, because he really actually started an economic platform for the African community. So if I had to tell him anything, I would say be very mindful, be in your spirit. Like, don't get in your ego at all. Be in your spirit and keep your eyes open to people who look like you, who are going to be your biggest threat.
Hmm.
Mm. And this isn't a topic, but that you brought that up. A lot of times, what people don't know is with these black leaders, a lot of these black men, they're brought down, sadly, by the black men, and it's a shame that we have to be, so aware of the people who surround us. It happens very often. But next topic, number 5. What's the greatest character in a black man? So for y'all, what's the greatest character? So like, let me know what's up with Twilight.
I'm gonna say the resilience, the ability to bounce back. Because, I mean, who else comes, like from infancy, you guys are getting boulders thrown at you in terms of the social order of things. So, for you to be able to bounce back and to advance and succeed, and even for the ones who are not, on a higher level of consciousness, it is just a matter of sheer determination and mind power that gets you guys to where you want to be. So, I guess I'm just extremely impressed by the resiliency of you. When you fine tune some of those ideologies that circle around in the black man head, you can really see a very strong and powerful leader in each and every one
Hmm.
of them.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, I have to agree. Just to add on to that, or I agree exactly. It's their resilience, the can't stop, won't stop, mentality that
Mhm.
they have, in anything that the black man does. And not to say that I can condone gang banging or condone, anything. The black man tries to be the best, that he is. Whether and I just use that as a platform to say, regardless of whatever they are trying to do, they won't stop until they have what it is that they need or that they want. Or And I think that a lot of the times, and even I've learned when it comes down to black men who are selling drugs or whatever the case may be, they do it to take care of their families a lot of the time.
mm,
And because of you know the wars that we go through daily, that many people don't understand or many people face, a lot of the times they're pushed to do that, you know and I think that that's something that more people need to open their mind to, not to sit here and condone the, oh, let's just sell drugs in our community, because it is killing our people. But start that's the whole, we need to start opening businesses and stuff like that, so that way we can get our black men out the streets. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that part into
I
that.
totally agree.
most
Yeah,
definitely. Most
kind
definitely.
of kind of like that thing. Tupac, he's someone that a lot of people misunderstood.
Mm,
But he
Mhm.
kind of spoke about that a little bit. Well, we're going to be selling drugs. Will you sell drugs from this time to this time when the kids are asleep, and certain things like that. He had somewhat of a structure. Again, not condoning, but a way to maybe weed out what's going on in our communities and
mm,
control it. Because obviously the white police officers aren't doing that. You
mm.
know.
And
Right.
and let's talk about Tupac. What do you see in Tupac that you feel like you could see that you would like to see in more men today? Not even just in the rappers, just period. Like what did you see in Tupac that you would like to see in more of the men today?
There was like this clip that I saw of Tupac. He was like at a gun range, and he said something really powerful. He said that, um, you know, you got to have, basically, he said, you got to have balls to talk like me. He was like, because if you're in the industry, you're going to rap about bitches, blunts, and partying. If you don't have balls like me, that's when you can't talk about what you really want to talk about. Now, this was
Mhm.
in the 90s, B. And so we fast forward the tape now, and we got your Young Thugs, and we got your,
Mm,
Migos, and all that, and you know, uh, you hear dope beats, but you don't hear any substance coming from the lyrics that they're speaking. You know what I mean? And so that
Mhm.
just, and a lot of people think, oh, well, they just want to rap like that. Well, maybe and maybe not. And so what I would like to say is, they really just, the way they make an example and isolate like one man is the way that they are able to, attack him if he can be by himself, if he can be isolated. But there was this movie that I watched, and even though it was like a fictional movie, Captain America, where they were fighting against this group called Hydro that was supposed to be like
mhm,
this sort of Nazi group, and their motto was cut one head off and like two will grow in its place or something like that, or three will grow in its place or something like that.
mhm,
We need to have that mentality where everybody shares a similar line of consciousness. And
mhm,
so Tupac should have never been able to be isolated to the point where they could have got him in that situation. It should have been a situation where if they cut one head off, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 will pop back up under the same level of consciousness on the same accord, talking the same stuff. So really, the way I see it is, it's just the courage that Tupac had. I really loved his courage, his tenacity. Yeah, maybe he wasn't perfect in terms of character, but he was young. He had time. He could have grown, you know?
That's true. A lot of people forget that Tupac died, I think, at 25.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people forget that. He was like 25 years old. He's really, really young. You know, Aisha?
Um, I think um, he was just himself, and he wasn't afraid to be himself. And I think that when America painted this image of this gangster Tupac, that's what he was. And he said, okay, if you think I'm this scary gangster rapper that does this and that, he owned up to, I don't know how to explain it. He was just very sure of himself and who he was, so he could play any part, if that makes sense. That's why he was an actor, and that's why he was the actor that he was, because he knew who he was, and I think that's why he was able to make the music that he did. And I think when you get to know Tupac at the core, he was, like a soft man. He had feelings. He had a big heart, and he just understood the struggle. That's just what it was. He understood the black struggle, but because he grew up with, his mother, he had that revolutionary side of him, and that's what made Tupac who he was, and that's why he was able to push those lyrics out.
Yep. You know, Tupac was like America's worst nightmare.
Yeah,
Like,
he was.
yeah,
Do you think he was worse than Malcolm X though?
that it was well, and the
In a
funny
different way, I think.
Tupac and Malcolm, their evolutions was similar. What was just different was their delivery and their
Yeah,
presentation. But you
exactly.
think over their backgrounds and coming up, it's not that far apart. Tupac just his platform just wasn't a less, I would say, organized place. Like his
Mm.
platform was in hip hop,
Hip hop.
Malcolm's platform was in the nation, but they both grew over time, and the evolutions is really similar if you look at it. But Tupac, I say he was America's worst nightmare because he was everything in a black man that white people feared.
Mhm.
White people were afraid of intelligence, thugs, rappers, revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? People who cared about all that, and Tupac was all of that in one.
Mhm.
So he was very, very, very unique person, ahead of the time, in my opinion. The next topic, all right, this one's a bit long. Try to pay attention. The media made the Black Panthers notorious for their afros, dark apparel, and willingness for armed self-defense. But their manifesto for change launched programs that benefited black communities nationwide, like free dental care, breakfast for low-income children, even drama classes. A lot of black men said this movement gave black men their manhood back. What do you think of black men when they are a part of movements like this?
I think they're the future. They really are the future, even in the sense that if you don't say achieve the status that you wish to, hopefully you have children, or you have nieces, nephews, or you're just teaching somebody who is the future. So I think that it's very important that these black men that have this knowledge or these capabilities are able to teach, in a sense, to protect, to lead us, and women too, not just black men, sorry, but women too, who are able to um, to obtain this knowledge, that they're able to do the same. Again, because I think collectively, if the black men can, you know, we can build something, we can change our community slowly, just like they did. We can create these programs that the Black Panthers did if we can unite. And I think that one of the big problems with the black men is the ego, and I think if we can just take that out, take away the fact that you might be a Pan-African, or you're an African spiritual, or you're a Hebrew Israelite, or you practice Kemet, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
We have strong leaders in every religion possible, you know, and each of you are carrying resources. So it's very dumb of us to still just say, well, let me keep to my Hebrew Israelites, or let me keep to my, you know, Kemet brothers, or you know, whatever it may be, because we're still losing. We're still losing. So it's just like later on, let's focus on that later on. You know, let us focus on that when we are united. You know, let's focus on this war that we are facing collectively, because they don't look at us and say, oh, well, that's a Hebrew Israelite. Let me kill that one. No, they see black and they're like, he got to go, she got to go. You know, and that's what something that the Black Panthers weren't standing for. You know, that's why they were as militant as they were. They knew that we needed to protect ourselves. They knew we needed to, you know, and don't do it the wrong way. Go get yourself a gun license so you can carry that weapon,
Mhm.
you
You're
know?
right.
And I think that that's their programs, their message is just so powerful. It's just very, very, very powerful.
I completely agree.
Wow.
Well,
I think he pretty much said everything, to
yeah.
be honest with you. So
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. I just want to say I totally, totally agree. And it gave them a sense of connection, pride, culture. And I think the important thing to know is when you're giving the African man, when you're empowering him and you're giving him something positive to strive for, he can really, really, really bring a lot to the table. And
Mhm.
so I think that we need to keep that in mind when we're criticizing gangs and gang violence and so on and so forth. Sure, maybe their consciousness is not to a level where they would stop, but what you have to understand is if you on that same level, on that same stream of energy, on the other side of that, there is warriors, there's soldiers, there's people who will go out there and put themselves on the front line and keep their ear to the streets and know what's going on. So we just really have to understand how to utilize all these resources instead of saying good and bad, black and white. I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to deal with that. There's a great deal that we have to gain from each and every malignancy in our
Mhm.
actual community.
Word. And I completely agree with what both of y'all said. A lot of petty differences, and just with black people in general, like it's a lot of petty differences in the way of view.
Mhm.
You come to find out, like with stopping two groups from unifying, it's never something crazy deep like, oh, he or they killed these people and they were my people. It's never something like that. It's something little like actually they believe that the sky's red or
Exactly. Mhm.
that this happened, and because of that, we can't. Now I understand. The only ones I make the exception for, that I normally tell my brothers I can understand why they have a hard time with them, is my
Christians.
Israelites brothers, and they know, and I talk to them all the time on the phone on these conversations that I'm with unifying with them, but the reason why a lot of people seem to have problems because today black men are trying to up their black women. And a lot of times when you're coming from a lot of time from a religious point of view, especially from the Bible, I found this out studying religion. I actually have a bachelor's in religion. It's very misogynist. And so when you have these group of black men trying to up black women, and you have another group of black men aggressively downing black women, it's really hard to connect and get one because you're like, my mom's black, my wife's black, and so uh, a lot of times I think that's one of the main issues. I might say black woman is God, and an Israelite might say that, well, right today in the age, black women are the tool of the devil. So
Yeah.
that's
I
a
I studied
Hmm.
I studied Hebrew Israelite. You know, I called myself an Israelite for a while. You know, for a while. That was, you know, when I was coming into knowledge, that was the first thing that you
mm-hmm,
can say that I cling to, if you want to say. And I will never say that it was something bad for me, you know, because you know, it was what sent me off into this beautiful journey that I'm at now, you know. But the reason why I pulled away from it was that, you know, the constant, like, having, you know, being told that, well, you're under somebody, or, you know, you follow me all the time and I'm the leader, and, you know, that's just what it comes off, it ends up being or feeling like, you know. And it kind of makes you feel like, well, what am I here to do? You know, I'm not just here to, you know, clean up after you, and, you know, kind of, excuse me, but that's what it kind of makes you feel like, you know.
mm-hmm,
um, and I think that's he when he pushed, I mean, when you said that as the reason why we can't unify with the Israelites, that is the big issue because a lot of people always tell me that um, their Israelites are very rude. You know, even when they're trying to open up to truth, like when they see somebody on the, when you, I don't know if you see the videos, they're very rude. Like, why are you wearing that? And you know, why would anybody want to listen to what you have to say when you're coming off so strong and hateful already? You know, nobody's just gonna say, well, let me listen to this man because he's trying to help me. You know, not at all. And I think that's an issue that they need to maybe work out within themselves, maybe tune their
Mhm.
ego down a little bit, you know, to
Mhm.
listen up a little bit, even if you don't agree.
Yep.
Right.
A lot of people forget, and this goes for men and women. A lot of people forget that you cannot be one without the other. Like you would not be a man if there was not a woman, and you would not be
Mm,
a woman if there wasn't a man. And
yep.
there's a whole science and philosophy behind that, but it's true the more you think about it. You know, so a lot of men are just getting to the understanding of that.
Mhm.
And I don't want to go too far into it because it's Black Men Rock, but you know, I tell a lot of black men I used to get back. It used to not be popular to call
Right.
black women gods or
Mhm.
goddesses. When I was first on Instagram doing it, I used to literally get hate mail, woman worshiper, hater, not even from Israelites, from just men, Afrocentric men, Egyptologists, all of them. Like you know, it really wasn't who made it popular in my opinion was Brother Polite,
Mhm.
but it wasn't a popular thing, and you know, men are just being able to grow past that because they need to realize they shouldn't be insecure about that because if you up your black woman and you're upping yourself because you came through her. You know, if your
Mhm.
source is great, then so are you. You know, and so once people can understand that, we can get a lot further. Now, we're gonna go to the third part. This is more open for you guys. Talk about as freely as you want. Now, you are both beautiful black women, and I know there's a lot of conscious men out there, quote unquote conscious men out there who are out looking for women like yourselves. What would you tell them watching? Are you what you're looking for in a king? So, what are you looking for in a king? Anybody can start.
Oh, I guess I probably should go ahead, right? Okay, so here's what I'm looking for in a king. Authenticity. I would say that over time of all this miseducation and misteaching, we've learned a lot of things that are incorrect, that
Mhm.
are lies to our spirit and our soul, and the nature of the culture of the African man and woman relationship. And so, a lot of times, what happens is, well, what I'll notice is, like, well, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, completely throwing away something that didn't work before, it's like totally easy. Like, okay, yeah, yeah, this was stupid. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was wrong about that. Bye. You know?
Mhm.
So it's easy for me to take and do what I need to do to reprogram my subconscious mind so that it then matches the level of consciousness that I have. So
Mhm.
what I notice with other people, or well, since I date men, I would just have to say men, is I noticed that some of the old programs are still running in the background, if you will.
Mhm.
And so, because of some of those old programs are running in the background conscientiously, you want to be this type of guy. You want to be this more Garvey, Umar type of guy. But in the background, you still running a program of Project Pat and, you know what I'm saying, Ludacris or something like that. So,
Mhm.
what we have to do is we have to recognize the miseducation, the misteachings, the programming that's still running in the background and actually eradicate it or
Mm.
find a useful way of using certain aspects of that program to come to the consciousness that you are in now. So
Mhm.
basically, you can't be calling me a queen and then trying to like come to me with some pimpish type game. You get what I'm saying? So it really is a matter of right now, I think more than anything, I want someone that's authentic about where they are, where, and I'm talking about internally, not externally, where they are, and having a true plan of action to where they want to be, and being authentic and genuine. in their dealings with me.
Mm, all right. I hope y'all heard that out there, Kings. So get that together before you DM her. All right.
True that.
Like,
I my answer would be, um, somebody who just like isn't afraid to, like she said, be who they are. Whether maybe me, I'm not so. You don't have to be just so, conscious and, oh, I know this and I know that, because I understand that everybody is where they're at. So don't come to me like she said, maybe, saying that you know this and that, but you absolutely know nothing about it just because you feel that you see me, teaching certain things or saying certain things. No, just come with who you are. I accept where you're at, in your journey. And I also, um, yeah, somebody that's just not afraid to show me who they are, basically, because I think that a lot of the times what I've run into is men who like just try again like to portray that they're this one image and they're not, and I can't deal with that. Like, I just can't deal with that, and I would just rather you be real. Just be real.
word, word, word. Be real.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, her answer like took like it was exactly what I was gonna say. Like you just have to be who you are. Be who you are, and not like she said, not physically, not what car do you drive, where do you stay, and like where are you on this journey as far as your soul journey.
Mm.
word.
Hmm.
So, like I said, brothers, for the ones, out there looking for Aisha, before you hit up that DM, be real. Alright, don't be coming on there, acting like you deep. If you shallow, I'm just messing. I'm just playing. All right. Um. Yeah, we only have about 10 minutes. So in these 5 minutes, I want y'all to tell us a story about a great black man or a great young black man that you may know, or that's something that's amazing you might have saw a man do that in your life. I'll start off, give y'all a little bit of time to think. I'm gonna be very I guess generic or predictable and talk about my father. I remember there was one time I'm not gonna say exactly what happened. I guess it was mostly my fault, but we had a big fallout, right? I was like
Hmm.
17, feeling myself, you know, growing into myself. I didn't feel like I had to listen to my dad nor my mom. And so me and my dad obviously had a really bad fallout in the middle of the mall. So I was like, I'm never going to talk to him. I'm not going to talk to him ever again. I was spoiled. It was funny because my dad didn't like everything for me. But because of this, I wasn't going to talk to him. I wasn't going to ever do nothing for him again, nothing like that. And I wrestled at the time. I did a lot of wrestling, a lot of fighting and stuff. And he went to all of my matches. Didn't speak to him. I was such a brat, even though he was going to all of them, still wasn't talking to him. He would still show up to all of my matches on time, watch every single one. And I remember one day I needed a ride home, and my mom was like, "Yeah, I'm not about to pick you up. You're gonna have to walk or call your dad." I said, "I can't call my dad. We had a fallout. I don't like him." And so she was like, "I'll call him and tell him to pick you up." So my dad gets there, and he pulls up. I get in the car, not trying to talk to him or anything, and it was quiet in the car. And mind you, my favorite food is pizza. This means something. We in the car, chilling. He's like, yeah, good match today. I'm like, yeah. It was like, you hungry? I was like, yeah. It was like, you want some pizza? I was like, yeah, I want some pizza. And so he took me to pizza and we was cool. So it's funny how men could just apologize in those type of ways. So my dad always had my back even when I didn't. I always thought that was
Mm.
amazing. I always commended him for that. So what is the story about a black man? Anybody can start off that y'all have. So,
You could start, Twilight, if you like. I don't
Okay.
know.
Sure, sure, sure. So maybe in about 2013, this person didn't know they affected me the way that they did, but this was a ex-boyfriend of mine, and basically what happened was he was a big part of the reason why I'm so driven now. because back then I was kind of just like, you know, I'll work a regular job, you know, you know, be a regular person, you know, and not really speak or have my voice heard. And some of the things that, you know, just from listening to his stories, it really just like opened me up to a lot of different things. He was really, really, you know, chiseled, worked out in the gym a lot. He had two you know, degrees, and you know, he was very self-sufficient. And so one of the things that inspired me most about him was the obstacles that he had to overcome. You know, he was a shorter guy, so, you know, in high school, you know, he was part of the wrestling team, but at first his coach said that he was too scrawny and too small, and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that. And he said, "You don't know what I could do." And he left and came back and wrestled like one of the best guys there, and like won. And basically after that, he moved his way up to being the captain, and that had became like his story as far as everything. He also had a learning disability. So he studied extra hard to become really, really, really proficient in both high school and college. You know, and by him being smaller, I mean, and I guess maybe even that pushed him to be an overachiever. But from what I gained from that is that people are always going to say, because I would let people say stuff to me, and then I would be like, oh, maybe they're right. I'm just gonna stop now. And what I gain from that is that you people are going to say things to you. People are going to try to discourage you. You have to be solid in what you believe in, and you have to keep going no matter what. And I thought it was kind of sad though, because he actually ended up getting into a car accident that almost became fatal, and now like he suffers with traumatic brain injury. But now that I even talk to him now, he is still moving forward. He's still overcoming. And if it wasn't for his workout regimen and his health consciousness, he would have actually died in that accident.
Mm-hmm.
So it was such even that accident and seeing him go through what he went through when he was in the hospital, it just really opened my eyes up to more and more about the world around me, and just like how to look at things from a different viewpoint. So he really, you know, I didn't grow up with a father, so him being around and seeing how strong his masculine energy was, and you know how dedicated and driven he was, it really inspired me, and somehow or another it just kind of like deposited into me, and then I've been running that program inside for, like, ever since.
Mm-hmm. That's an
Hmm.
amazing story.
Yeah, that is.
Thank you.
You see, Tony's a great man for me. You know, tell for me. Um,
Um,
Aisha.
my story is about my father too. Um, I'm 25, but started having children really young. Him and my children, I mean him and my children, him and my mother, him and my mother had four children by time 94, and I was born in 89. So they were just, popping children out left and right. After that fourth child, my youngest sister, I have that, rare occasion. Well, my mother left, so my father raised all of us. So unlike most people, I didn't have a mother. Eventually my dad met my stepmom, but I grew up with my father. So, just anything he did was just amazing. Like he beat every stereotype that people throw at me or throw at the black man, because he was there. He provided for all of us. I always had a roof over my head. I always, even as a child, you don't realize how hard it is for parents to do the things that they're doing. But I always had the Nikes, the nice clothes, the things that don't matter. But he always made sure that his kids looked up what he wanted us to look like we were taken care of. I always, was fed. And, I am half Mexican. Most people, that's why my name's Afro Mexico.
Hmm.
I grew up in El Paso. It's all, mostly Hispanic Mexican area. I went to Canutillo High School, where there was four black people in my class, and three of us were mixed with Mexican, and only one was full black. And then there was maybe like two white people, and everybody else was Hispanic. So, junior year, I won homecoming princess, And my dad, like, he was so 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 happy, and he was just like, like my daughter, this black girl, regardless, take out the Mexican, like this black girl who looks black, she won, this princess. And so he went out his way. Most people, you just buy one dress, but he made sure, like, that I had a dress for, like, the football game. I had a, like, princess ball dress for, like, the dance, and just little things like that. I think I had like 3 dresses. He's like went totally out his way. And I always just, like, I hang on to that story because it's just like, it just shows, the difference that a father can make. I did have my stepmother, but having him there as that rock solid, that no matter what, I'm here for you. That's why maybe I am so hard when it comes to men or whatever, because I had such a high standard. Regardless of what, my father went through, he was there. And it's not easy, to have. He ended up having 5 children. Him and my mother had 4, and then he had another one. So he was raising, 5 children.
Mm.
And so it's just like, like, to me, that's just the best story of all. My dad, I guess,
No,
of a black man.
that's amazing. Tell him I said he's amazing. That's amazing.
Right.
Um, so I want to thank y'all for coming through because this was a long day. It was a lot going on before this thing got on today. So, I really want to thank y'all for being on the panel. You guys are really great. I think everybody should be following y'all. Can y'all please starting with Twilight? Can you please tell people where to find you, your Instagram, your Facebook? I've been on your radio show. Tell me your
Right.
project that you're working on.
Right, right, right. Okay, so you can follow me at the Underbelly Group on Instagram and Facebook, and that's spelled exactly how it sounds. No, fanciness to it. I also have a book out now on Amazon. It's called The Call to Courage. And if you go on the Underbelly Group's page, you'll find the link in the bio as well as on the Facebook page. And it's really just about getting in touch with your essence so that you can overcome some of these programs and some of these illusions to get to your greatest version of yourself so that you can move in your purpose. And it is part of a series that I'm calling Getting Back to Ashe. So you guys definitely want to check that out. And then every other Wednesday, I actually do a blog talk radio show for Universal Radio. And it's called the You Must Learn Show. So we share a lot of knowledge and insight, but it's edutainment. So we keep it peachy here. We keep it down to earth. So you definitely want to check that out. And other than that, I mean, you'll see me on the scenes. I'm going to be doing my thing. And I've had Elohim on the show. He was on there last week. So there is a playback for that if you guys want to check it out too on blogtalkradio.com/Universal Radio 2. And that's what we're doing. We're just growing, we're expanding, we're spreading the knowledge, the love, and we're teaching people how to love themselves so that they can get to the best version of themselves.
Word, word, word. All right, Sister Aisha.
You can find me on Instagram at Afro Mexico, and you can find me on Facebook at Aisha Lynette. And I'm a writer for realbrowngirls.com. My own personal blog is not, I'm still working on it, so it's not out yet, but I will, be putting that out. It'll be called officialafromexico.com. Like she said, it's just going to be me again, sharing this knowledge, the platform, pushing out knowledge, pushing out love, pushing out peace for our people. I think that's it. You can find me on Twitter, but I'm not as active on Twitter on Afro Mexico as well. But I'm not as active on there.
All right. Well, word. I have and I Never Stop Rapping coming out. 30 minutes, just rapping, all instrumentals. I'm an artist, got some poetry coming for y'all. The new Bible, I know that's still coming. Black Woman Rock Part 2 is coming. So be ready for that. I know a lot of y'all want this Polygamy or Not Part 2. I did not forget about y'all. That is also coming. I'm very busy, but it's still coming. And Dope Cartel, I believe that's just about it. Oh yeah, and Why Not Religion, 2-part class.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a part of that live session class, hit up my DM, and Yes, that's pretty much it. I
Mhm.
want to thank y'all for being on the panel. I want the people watching to go follow these sisters. They do a lot of great stuff. I've been following them for a long time. They're really great. I love their pages. Sure you subscribe. Subscribe if you want more stuff. You gotta support. All right. So I hope everybody has a great day, and please keep learning. Please keep searching for knowledge. And Ashe.
Ashe.